Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another lovely day here with Velocity Racing League for the VRL 2022 Cup Series. We are here today at Pocono Raceway for the Pocono 250, and not only are we at Pocono Raceway, we are at the older scan on the iRacing service here of the Pocono Raceway. So the surface of the track obviously going to be a little bit different than what it is to, well, how it is today. So right now, with drivers currently getting their qualifying runs here at the moment, as we go ahead and get ourselves ready for that to start up here. So, right now we're looking at Tony Hilbrand's currently making his way around the track in the number 92 machine. We got Nicholas Lovell, Jaden Hopp, Eric Whitner, all as well making their way out here onto the racetrack. And it almost kind of looks like it almost looks like a little bit of fog on the track here at the moment, but I do believe that that is not what that is. I could be mistaken here, but anyhow, it's going to be an interesting race here today as Pocono. You know, it's one of those tracks where you really have to nail your braking zones. And given the triangle that we have here, only 3 turns that we can see here. And wow, you know what? I actually didn't. I have never noticed the difference between the older scan of Pocono Raceway and the newer one, which is quite noticeably different. Going back and looking at this older scan, I believe this is the 2008 scan of this racetrack. So really great to be here. This would be the first time that I've been here at the original, well, not necessarily original, but the older layout of Pocono Raceway. Taking a look at last week's race results, though, New Hampshire Motor Speedway was where we were last time around. James Miller coming home with the win. Jaden Hopp in second, and Howie Briss in third place. So we're going to see how kind of drivers stack themselves up here today, and I was kind of talking with Tony actually a little bit before we went live here. Just had to mention it, you know, Pocono is one of those tracks where, as a driver, you either love it or you hate it. There's really no in-between. This track really kind of makes or breaks a lot of drivers here, as we're seeing Howie Briss, the number 97 machine, almost dirt tracking his way through turn 3 there, but great work here out of the number 97 machine. Here tonight, we've already got a couple people in the chat as well. Don Hilbrand saying happy race day, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I know that I am. Don, I hope you're having a great day. James Koulibaly as well. Welcome to PA, home away from home. Great to have James Koulibaly here in the chat joining us for tonight's race for the Pocono 250. Here tonight, we're looking at Matthew Fitz, the 6'9 machine, making his way around the track at the moment. So looking at the top 3 at this point in time, James Miller, Howie Briss, Cody Welch, all going to be in that top 3 spot here at the moment. So things are definitely going to be a little bit different than what we saw last week at New Hampshire. But, you know, that could all change very quickly here. Again, this is the first, and that's kind of almost what I was leading up to there as Matthew Fitz got himself into the wall coming out of turn 2. This track, you know, there's not a whole lot of banking here. It's pretty flat, I would have to say. I mean, you got a little bit to work with, but it's almost kind of like Indiana Motor Speedway. A lot of other big ovals where there's not a whole lot of banking in it. You really got to pay attention to your braking zones. You really got to take things easy, easy in, fast out. You know, that's pretty much the name of the game here for a lot of these drivers here tonight. Aaron Smith, the number 70 machine, meanwhile, putting himself up here on provisional pole in the number 70 car with a 56.83 as his best time here for qualifying. We're going to see if there's going to be any improved time there from Aaron before we take the green flag here for the very first time here tonight. William Britton as well in the chat saying good evening, everyone. Welcome to another broadcast here, William. Great to have you. And it looks like that is going to wrap up our qualifying here today, and we are going to have our starting grid. If it will... Oh, never mind. I forget that we have a little bit of a warm-up session here before we actually go to our starting grid here, but that will, I'm sure, be changed here relatively quickly once all things are said and done here. But race administration, everyone else getting themselves ready to go sort it out before we get into the action here today. Now, I've already done a broadcast last week, actually, here at Pocono, but the newer scan of this track, and I gotta say, you know, it was in a different car. It was in the Next Gen Cup cars, but just looking at that, seeing kind of the difficulties that some drivers were facing, especially in that turn 2 area, coming out of turn 2 onto the straightaway. Yeah, you definitely get a lot of speed built up through there, and it's very easy to catch yourself onto that wall. But with that warm-up session out of the way here, we have our starting grid lined up and ready for us, as James Miller is going to be in the front row on the inside in the 09 car, with Aaron Smith in the outside with the 70 machine rounding out our first row. In the second row on the inside is Howie Briss in the 97 machine. On the outside of that row, Jaden Hopp in the 81 car. Cody Welch on the inside of row 3 in the 85 machine, with Tony Hilbrands on that outside with the 92 car. Nicholas Lovell going to be on the inside of row 4 in the 37 machine, with Benny Hogan on the outside. Eric Whitner, the inside of row 5. Max Newworth on the outside. Matthew Fitz going to take that 11th place spot here. James Koulibaly in 12th place. As we move ourselves down the grid, Patrick Colby in that 13th place spot with Scott Shire in 14th. Paul Nikolajczyk in 15th. That's a name I haven't seen. It feels like I haven't seen that name in a little bit here, but Paul Nikolajczyk out here again. Charles Jurek in 16th. Michael Keithley in 17th. Michael Ashmore in 18th. Howie Dietrey in 19th. And William Britton, the driver who is not only talking to us in the live chat, but is also having a piece of the action for himself here. So multitasking at its finest here as we are underway with the pace car in tow. The lights are off. So we'll be one more time here around the racetrack. Well, the first time around the racetrack with the pace car in tow before we see that dive down out of turn 3. The green flag flies here for the very first time. Pocono Raceway for the Pocono 250, the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. And I gotta say, folks, if you're just now tuning into the series, if you haven't tuned in before, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And also, you have been missing out on quite a lot of action here with Velocity Racing League. There has been quite a lot of action throughout the season, and right now as well, the point standings starting to look pretty interesting here as well. Go ahead and take a look at that here for just a quick moment. Howie Briss sitting in that first place spot with Nicholas Lovell in second, Jaden Hopp in third. And you can see just how tight these standings are. Nicholas Lovell only 140 points behind the leader of Howie Briss, with currently 3,496 points to lead at this point in time. Great battles here for the championship. But so far, it's been all Howie Briss, and consistency has been the name of the game here for the number 97 machine. As Howie has not won more than one race for this season. He's put himself on the pole 4 times, won one race. He's on the pole here again for the start of this one. Let's see where Howie's going to put himself. It's going to go green flag here at Pocono for the very first time. Aaron Smith, James Miller going to be side by side as they charge their way into turn 1. We've already got some drivers 3 wide here towards the midfield, and someone bobbing and weaving trying to find a preferred line here as we come through turn 1. James Miller going to be the one on top of the rest of the field here, starting to separate himself just a little bit. Let's see these drivers make their way out of turn 1 onto the first straightaway here towards turn 2. So far, everyone making very good progress so far. It looks like William Britton might have had a little bit of a moment here, getting himself off track there, but quickly finding himself back onto the racetrack here as we're 3 wide here between the number 38 machine and Paul Nikolajczyk. Matthew Fitz in it, possibly Eric Whitner there for just a moment. Maybe even Scott. Actually, it might have been Scott Shire, the number 4 car, able to break away from that pack, get enough distance between them that you really, you know, this is pretty much what you want to be doing here, folks. You want to get yourself distance between these drivers, because you start getting into that draft, man, that's when mistakes really can start to come up and bite you in the rear if you're not careful, because, you know, you're chasing a driver with only less than a car length between you two, and suddenly they're slamming on the brakes to, you know, get that car turned into, make the turn, and all of a sudden you can't slow down fast enough. You know, it's a very, very tricky game here that you're playing here at Pocono, you know, just given how flat this racetrack is, and you can see even the drivers coming out of turn 2 there, washing up to the outside of the straightaway there, almost slapping that wall. But that's how close you have to be. You really got to be pushing as much as you can, but too much, and it's going to be game over for you. But so far, everyone doing a pretty decent job here, staying single file for the most part. Michael Keithley, as we just tuned into him here, the number 53 car. Not sure what happened there as he came out of turn 3. But heading back into turn 1, things are smooth here once again for Michael. He's got the 76 of Charles Jurek hot on his heels at the moment. So far, doesn't seem to be too bothered at this point in time. Another driver that we've kind of been looking at throughout the season here, Nicholas Lovell, the 37 machine. Again, a driver that is only 140 points behind the leader, Howie Briss, for the championship. Man. Anyway, Nicholas Lovell has had a very, very good season here thus far. I mean, he hasn't quite had the same success, you could say, as Howie Briss here. You know, Howie's putting himself on the pole 4 times this season. One race, Nicholas Lovell able to come away with a win, but he's only been able to put himself on the pole once so far. But he's been in the top 5 11 times. He's been in the top 10 almost as many races as there has been here for the 2022 Cup Series. So, you know, Nicholas Lovell and Howie Briss, they both share that same consistency, being able to place themselves well into the top 10, sometimes the top 5, maybe even onto that pole. But that just goes to show folks that you don't have to win races to be successful in a championship. It's all about just being consistent and being there, you know, in the spots where it matters when the checkered flag flies. That's all that matters. You know, if you can get yourself into that top 10 every single race, more than likely you're going to find yourself competing for a title at the end of that season. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing kind of unfold between Howie and Nicholas Lovell. But the season's not over yet, and there's still plenty of racing left to be had before we even see the end of the season. Right now, we're still looking at quite a few more races left. Next week we go to Watkins Glen, the 200 at the Glen. And the week after that is the Beach Blast 200 at Daytona. So, I mean, that's not even counting the remainder of the road courses that we're going to, which by my count, looks like we're going to Circuit of the Americas, Laguna Seca, and I believe that might be it. So it looks like only 2 more road course races here for the remainder of the season. I gotta say, now that I just saw Laguna Seca on there, that's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely excited for that one now. But anyway, anyhow, it's only lap 6 of 100, so, you know, again, this track, 2.5 miles, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is, 2.5 miles around here at Pocono Raceway, so it takes a little bit of time, almost about a minute, for these drivers to make a full lap. And, you know, when you think about that, that's pretty crazy to think. You know, not even 60 seconds go by, and you're already 2.5 miles away from, you know, if you were going in a straight line, just imagine for a moment. Anyway, Charles Jurek, James Coulibaly, side by side. There's contact between the two as they come out of turn 2. They get into the wall. Charles Jurek, he's got the 22 machine right on top of his hood, bringing him along for the ride, and he's finally able to shake away the 22 of James Coulibaly, but that does not come without a caution. Here tonight at Pocono Raceway, the first one of the night, lap 7 of 100. And that was almost seemingly a minor bit of contact there, but it just quickly devolved into something a lot worse. We're going to take a quick replay here. Oh, man, Charles, he got a little bit loose out of turn 2 there. Got himself into the rear end of James Coulibaly, and James just had nowhere to go at that point. Unfortunate for Charles, as well as James Coulibaly, but fortunately for both of them, they're able to keep themselves on the racetrack here and keep racing. So I don't know if anyone experienced any major damage from that. I mean, we can look at the 22 of James Coulibaly's machine. He's got a little bit of front end damage there to the front passenger side there. You can see that front fender kind of pushed in a little bit minor. Not too bad, nothing that a soft hammer would fix in the pit lane. So nothing really too major there for the 22 car. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with anything with that tire on the right side there. Hopefully all the suspension, all the steering is all good and solid to go, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, that didn't seem like it was too bad of an impact. I mean, any impact is definitely, you'd be surprised the kind of things you can break, in some collisions, regardless of how fast you're going. James Coulibaly is saying my paint didn't load. Oh, good old trading paints, James. It always just, it likes to make things difficult for us. But you know what? While we still have the pace car in tow, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, hopefully, James, you'll have your paint showing up here and allow us to take a moment here and wet our whistles in the booth. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more of the Pocono 250 here with Velocity Racing League. Stay tuned. We'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, race fans. James, if you're still watching, hopefully we got your paint scheme sorted out here. I don't think anything changed because it looks like it's still the same. So unfortunately, either my trading paints is having issues or something along those lines. But anyway, anyhow, we get to see I guess a classic paint scheme here on the 22 car tonight. Unfortunately, not showing up here for this race tonight, sadly, but hopefully that will maybe resolve itself here in the meantime. But the lights are off on the pace car. We're making our way down the straightaway out of turn 2 here as we make our way through turn 3. James Miller, Aaron Smith in the front row, Howie Brisk, Tony Hilbrand's in the second row, Cody Welch, Nicholas Lovell in our third row here today. So already not a whole lot has changed here for our top 3. But slowly but surely, we're starting to see the top 10 really start to shuffle around here a little bit. And now that we have this restart, kind of gives drivers another opportunity, another shot to be able to push themselves up even further up the grid if they are able to do so. So let's see what these drivers have in store as we come through turn 3 now. Car with the dive, and the green flag will fly. Back to racing we go here at Pocono. Aaron Smith, Tony Hilbrand, both with a pretty good lead jump here on the start. Aaron Smith, he's able to kind of lead the way here for Tony Hilbrand, and Tony's all for it. Trying to push himself as close as he can to the 70 machine, but unfortunately he's going to get washed out from that advantage here, as the inside line is going to have that speed advantage. The drivers on that middle to outside line have to really slow down a lot more in order to make these turns to avoid slamming into these walls. It's very, very easy to do so here. A few drivers towards the midfield. Meanwhile, a couple of them side by side here, but for the most part, just trying to move and group their way through the field here. Cody Wells doing exactly that in the number 85 car. He's got Nicholas Lovell, the 37 machine, on his outside here at the moment. Everyone, for the most part, taking that single file line here as we head our way into turn 1 here once more. So Aaron Smith, I mean, you know, this is another driver that we have seen an incredible season out of. The most winningest driver here in the series. Aaron Smith able to take away 8 wins for this season. 8 wins. That is just absolutely incredible. Now, Aaron's only had 14 starts to this season. He's able to put himself into the 11th place spot for the championship. So, again, just a real credit to Aaron Smith for his season here thus far. Even though he's not necessarily competing for the championship, he is just absolutely showing that he has a real dominance with the Argos here in this series. So very, very good talent here from Aaron Smith. We got Howie Dietrich, the number 34 machine, excuse me. Making his way down into pit lane here. Unsure what the reasoning is behind that. It looks like James Coulibaly has also had another incident here. I'm not exactly certain what happened here for the 22 car, but a lot of some drivers here getting loose all on their lonesome. Away from the rest of the field. It's not really impacting these drivers up here in this lead pack right now, but you know, it's just how much space there is here on this racetrack. It's kind of easy to get put out by yourself. James Miller now, the 09 car. Last week, again, he was able to come home with the win at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I believe that was his... It was his second win. Okay, so it was his second win of the season. And, I mean, he's sitting up here in 7th place. And since the last race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the top 7 in the championship has not changed at all. So we can actually take a moment here to kind of take a look at that here as well. There is not another caution. So here we have the caution, we have the graphic up on our screens right now. And again, the top 7 have not changed at all. So Howie Briss, Nicholas Lovell, Jamie Hopp, Sean Williams, Tony Hilbrand, Benny Hogan, and James Coulibaly. All 7 of these drivers have maintained their position in the championship since last week at New Hampshire, and frankly, I feel like it's been that way for quite some time. Actually, yeah, looking at the week before that at Dover, was the same situation. The top 7 have not changed, and also really, it's been a pretty locked down battle, if you will, for this championship. There really hasn't been a whole lot changing throughout this season here, excuse me. So at this moment, we're going to take a moment here to ride on board with Scott Shire in the number 4 car. And let's have a lap around Pocono and just listen to the sights and sounds and get a feel for what it's like to drive a lap here with Scott Shire at Pocono Raceway. Fantastic driving here from Scott Shire in the number 4 car. And frankly, this whole field, you know, they're all very experienced behind the wheel. And seeing them tackle a track like Pocono, it's always interesting to see the kind of mistakes that these drivers make, because, you know, it's not often that you'll see these drivers kind of slip up and have these little faults. But when you take them to tracks like Pocono, kind of, they can bring out the worst of drivers sometimes. But so far, what I've seen, lap 17 of 100, and it has been smooth racing here so far. We're looking at a little battle here, a little pack between Tony Hillbrand, Cody Wells, Howie Briss, Nicholas Lovell. Oh. That was a great slide there from Nicholas Lovell up to the middle line there, right behind Tony Hillbrand. It's actually pretty entertaining to watch these 4 drivers all kind of stay this close to one another and turn laps with each other. It's very entertaining. It's almost kind of like watching, you know, fighter jets fly in formation, if you will. Howie bursts down on the inside of Tony Hillbrand as they make their way out of turn 1. Nicholas Lovell, Jaden Hobb, you know, all 4 of these drivers, they've just been swapping back and forth. And Howie Briss, you know, this is the driver that is leading the championship right now. And, you know, to be in this spot, particularly right now, I mean, we still have pit stops to go through, so it's not the end of the world, but always interesting to see the strategy of the driver that's leading this championship, and just, again, just plain consistent is what is all I have to say about the 97 driver. I mean, able to just keep himself up here in the top 5, the top 10, race after race. That's all you need to do. And I think Howie has got that formula down to a science here at this point. Checking in with some of our other drivers here throughout the field. Looking at Matthew Fitz right now, looks like William Britton way down low on track there, came back up, and I think is just avoiding some of the drivers, or maybe made his way out of pit road here. I'm not exactly certain. Nope, definitely didn't do that. Uncertain what that was, but either way, either how, it's lap 19 of 100, and just a few more laps until we reach the quarter of the way mark. Yeah, and Cody Wells, the 85 machine, Jennifer Wonders, saying in the chat, let's talk about Cody Wells' move. Yeah, Cody has done a phenomenal job here throughout this season, and, you know, has had a lot of support behind him as well. Has had a couple mistakes here in a couple different races, but ultimately, you know, has shown that he has got the talent and the skill to compete here in this league, in this series, and be one of the top runners. Right now, holding on to that third place spot, he's got a little bit of distance between himself and Aaron Smith in that second place spot, but with the drivers behind him, Tony Hillbrand's, Nicholas Lovell. Oh, whoa! Getting sidetracked here for just a moment as Nicholas Lovell almost lost control of that machine there for a second, coming out of turn 2, but able to hold on to it. Tony Hillbrand's though, and you know, this is kind of what you have to look out for here at Pocono, folks. Entering into a turn is one thing, but the exit can be absolutely treacherous. If you get on that throttle too aggressively, too early, it could be the end of your race. But back to what I was saying, though, Cody Welch, you know, if he continues his pace right now, at the moment it's showing that he's a little bit faster than Tony Hillbrand. They're catching him just marginally, but that's only because, you know, they're in this pack. They've got some draft working in their favor. Tony Hillbrand's, meanwhile, he's separating from that package, so we're already starting to see some drivers kind of get into their lonesome here. James Miller, meanwhile, duking it out with Aaron Smith for the lead here, side by side through turn 3, out onto the front straight. It's Aaron Smith down on the inside. He's able to retake the lead here for the Pocono 250. The exchange there, not long lived there between these two drivers, and James Miller now going to have to basically just kick himself into gear, get behind the bumper of that 70 machine and do the same exact thing, just keep that draft going. And it looks like here, not exactly certain what happened in that moment, but it looked like James Miller might have possibly lost a little bit of pace there. Slowed down for something. I'm not sure if he was just half anticipating he was going to hit the wall and got on the brakes a little bit heavy, but not sure. Max Newworth here, Patrick Colby, they were just duking it out here side by side for just a moment. Lap 22 of 100. Now, expected window for drivers here tonight. 30 to 35 laps is the fuel window. 5 sets of tires is available for all of our drivers here tonight. So I wouldn't expect to see anyone coming in here anytime soon, but you can already start to see the effects of tire wear coming in for some of these drivers here on lap 23. Right on board of the roof camera of Jaden Hopp here for just a moment. This is a really good angle, too, of just how much banking that these drivers have to work with. Now, it isn't non-existent, but it definitely isn't as much as what you would see at places like Talladega or Daytona, where if you were to actually try and walk onto the racetrack in real life, might not actually be able to walk up. It is a very, very steep incline on those turns. It is just truly incredible. But here at Pocono, it is a much different story, and especially in turn 3 here, where turn 3 and turn 1 are not the same. Hogan, meanwhile, he's going to make his way down into pit road here. Lap 25 of 100. He is one of the first drivers to come down under green flag conditions and get a new fresh set of tires and some fuel. I don't know if he's going to be the start of a wave of drivers here. He might just be kind of taking things a little bit easy here, coming in early, taking that undercut, and just preparing himself for what is going to be another long 75 laps here at Pocono. Got a little bit of side-by-side action, or actually, well, almost a 3-pack of drivers here duking it out. We've got Nicholas Lovell down on the inside. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Nicholas here for just a moment. Let's listen in to the sights and sounds here with the 37 machine. Howie Briss and Nicholas Lovell there for just a few moments. We've also got Paul Mikolajczyk, the Pierogi Bandit, the 38 machine. A driver that I don't think we've seen here for a little while now. Okay, so that's why I haven't seen him in a little while, because the last time that Paul Mikolajczyk was here at a race with Velocity Racing League was for the race at Dover Motor Speedway, and unfortunately for myself, I wasn't able to cover that event. My good friend and colleague James Easton was the commentator, the producer for that event, and I hope that everyone enjoyed that race and enjoyed enjoyed the production that James East produces. It's been a great honor to be able to work alongside someone like James, who's shown the ropes on how to do these lovely broadcasts for all of you folks and for these leagues. It's always great to be here. It's great to be working 14 Goon Squad and bringing these events week in and week out. Folks, I hope that every single one of you that tunes into these races every single week enjoys what you see and always likes to come back and watch these races. Because every single week, it's always very interesting to see the different battles that we have throughout all of our championships that run with the various leagues that we have, as well as the track selections that we have. It is absolutely incredible, all of the competition that we see on a weekly basis here at Team Goon Squad. And what a great way to start off a week of racing, none other than with Velocity Racing League for the VRL 2022 Cup Series, as we have yet another driver making his way down into pit lane here, James Coulibaly, in the number 22 machine, who we saw, I believe, earlier in the race, make a little bit of contact with, I believe it was it Aaron Smith? Oh, wow, okay. That completely blew over my head there for a moment. I forgot that Aaron Smith and James Coulibaly were both involved in a little bit of an incident earlier on in the race. We saw the 22 machine up on top of the hood of the 70 car, but because of the restart and because of the skill that Aaron Smith possesses here for this series, he's able to put himself back up there into that first place spot, and it's just looking like right now it's the Aaron Smith show, as he's got almost 2 seconds of a lead over James Miller in that second place spot. You can see that time difference on the left-hand side of your screen at this moment. So lap 32 of 100, I'm expecting here within the next 5 to 10 laps, we're going to see the rest of this field start to make their way down into pit lane here. And, you know, for the drivers that are in that top 3, I mean, they're going to be pretty well comfortable as long as they get these stops right. I think we've already seen it once or twice. A couple drivers getting a little bit loose, getting into pit road, because if I'm not mistaken, coming out of turn 3 here, we get a good look at that once we make our way through there. You'll watch along with Cody Wells in the 85 car at the moment. But coming out of turn 3, well, actually, no, there it is. Okay, never mind. So you come down into pit lane well before. Oh, we know. Okay. There it is. Oh, woo-wee! Folks, I hope you saw that. I hope you saw that. I hope everyone watching just witnessed that, because that was just absolutely incredible. Jennifer, I like the panel on the left. Yep, that is our timing tower. Actually, I prefer most of the time as well, but the ticker, the graphic that shows on the top of our screen kind of helps, take the bloat away from the rest of the screen, if you will. Kind of makes it look a little less busy on the screen, I suppose, if you will. But anyhow, this Tony Nobrand, he is charging his way around Cody at the moment, and Cody dirt tracking it through turn 3. Here it goes, though. Oh man, we caught it just a little bit too late. Aaron Smith with a little bit of a lockup here coming through pit lane. Let's actually, I want to see this. I want to see if he gets a speeding penalty for this. This could be huge. Okay, he's in pit. Pit timer has started. Let's see where he comes out. It should be about 14 to 15 seconds if he's getting fuel and tires. Any later than that, okay, here he goes. So luckily for Aaron Smith, no penalty, no speeding penalty for coming across that commitment line. Seemingly a little hot there. You know, I seen the smoke for just a moment as he was coming down into pit road, but that could also, just kind of at a last minute, like, hey, I need to drop another 20 mile an hour. Or in the case of these cars, let's actually, I want to ride on board here with someone for a moment just to explain this a little further. You don't have an odometer, okay? You don't have a gauge on your dash telling you how fast you're going. Now, with the iRacing service, you can kind of cheat, given that there is an odometer displayed on your screen practically at all times. But if you are quote-unquote hardcore and decide not to use that, this is all the information that you have. What you are seeing is all the information that you have to know how fast you are going. Now, if you are not familiar with NASCAR or with ARCA or anything like that in general, usually what drivers will do in real life is they will go by RPM of the car. So, whoa, look at that, Nicholas Lovell. That's exactly what I'm talking about, folks. Coming out of turn 3, trying to get yourself slowed down to come down into pit lane. To do it quickly, it's tough. You can lose control of that car very, very quickly. But Nicholas Lovell did a very, very good job there, keeping himself together and come down through pit lane. So only a handful of drivers left to make their way down into pit lane. It looks like Howie Briss, Scott Shire, going to stay out the longest here. We're going to see how that strategy plays out for both of them, especially for Howie Briss. Scott Shire, though, he's got quite the move here. Up 10 positions from where he started at the race, or at the beginning of the race currently. Now, again, that could change as we have more drivers making their way down through pit lane, but for Scott Shire, as well as Paul Mikolajczyk, who's in second right now, moved up 13 spots. Both of these drivers are doing pretty good at the moment. Woo! Whoa, look at that. Max Newworth. I'm not sure if that was, oh man. Oh, it just gets worse. It just gets worse. Paul Mikolajczyk also suffering a little bit of, pit stop woes, I guess, if you want to call it that. Making a little bit of contact there to the outside pit wall there, but I don't know if that's going to come with a penalty or not. I don't think it will. It actually definitely is going to be served a penalty for Paul Mikolajczyk, the 38 machine, still sitting in pit lane. I'm not sure how long he's going to be there for, but definitely going to cost him quite a few positions. And right after I was just talking you up, man, Paul, if you're watching, if you're listening, I was cheering you on, Paul the Pierogi Bandit up here in second place. I'm just teasing. But anyhow, Scott Shire, the number 4 machine who we were talking about just a little bit ago, also doing a phenomenal job in this race here tonight on lap 38 of 100. He's going to come down into pit lane here. Now, looking at timing and scoring at this moment, it looks like once everything is all said and done here, now also it's depending on when Scott Shire is going to come out of pit lane here, because if he can stay out, no he's not. He's not going to be able to do so. So once he comes out of pit lane here, it looks like Scott Shire might find himself about, oh wow, okay, that's quickly changing here for Scott. So he's going to be kind of in the upper top 10 here once he finds himself back onto the racetrack. In the last 3 drivers up at the front, Jaden Hopp, one of them already making his way down the pit road. Now the number 81 car, the other 2 drivers that need to make their way down to complete their first cycle here today, Patrick Colby, Charles Jurek, remain out on track here in the number 976 machine. You can see them both duking it out here as they come across the line here and pass Jaden Hopp down there in pit lane. Ray Aguilar, yes, I certainly can. I thought I had it dialed, but sometimes you gotta assume otherwise. My apologies, Ray. If folks, anyone watching, if you can hear me, or if you can't hear me that well, if the engines are screaming by a little bit too loud and my voice gets drowned out, please let me know. Or if my voice is a little bit too loud and you can't hear the lovely sounds of the engines roaring by, let me know. Folks, I am always able to correct these things kind of on the fly here, but hopefully it is a little bit better now. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves back into the action here. And also kind of taking a look here and seeing where most of our field is starting to stack up here. Let's go ahead and look at our top 10 at the moment. It's going to change here once both Patrick Colby, Charles Jurek, Charles Jurek, both in this first and second place spot here. Again, both of these drivers, they still need to make their way through pit road to begin their first official cycle, if you will. Get a fresh set of tires, get that fuel that they need to be able to make it through their next stint here. But kind of looking beyond that, Aaron Smith, James Miller, Jaden Hopp will be your top three, again, once these top two make their way down the pits. Nicholas Lovell, Howie Briss, or excuse me, I got that a little mixed up here. Cody Welch, Nicholas Lovell, going to be that 4th and 5th place spot. Howie Briss, Tony Hilbrand, 6th and 7th. Benny Hogan will be 8th. Scott Shire in 9th, and William Britton will take that 10th place spot. Now, I know that doesn't show that right now, but again, Patrick Colby, Charles Jurek, just kind of seeing what they can do here on this stint, how far they can actually push these tires, how many laps they can turn on the fuel that they have here. I mean, it's really kind of a gamble. I don't think it's going to work out in the sense that they're going to find themselves with a podium or a win, for that matter, but it helps them extend their stint that much further, and they're able to stay out on the racetrack a lot longer than the rest of the field. It can help in certain situations, but in the case of Patrick and Charles Jurek, I'm not certain where they're kind of going to find themselves shuffled at once they come down through pit road. I mean, let's see here. Looking at Charles Jurek right now, between Charles and Aaron Smith, there's about a 10-second gap. So if we're considering the average times of all the drivers that have made their way through pit road already, most drivers looking at pit times of about 14.5 to low 15 seconds for their total pit time, and that's not even the pit lane time in general. I mean, you look at pit lane time, it's nearly 40 to 43 seconds in some cases, so you're definitely going to be losing a lot of positions by coming down into the pits, and these drivers know that, but just kind of explaining it for those of you that might not kind of know. Ray Aguilar, thank you very much for your kind comments. I genuinely appreciate it. I love what I do, and I genuinely love to see people support not only myself, but everyone in the Team Green Squad broadcasting team. James East, Gareth McAllister, Finley Fitzsimmons, Jacob Feskanen. I know I was going to say that wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm missing another one. But anyway, point being, we definitely strive ourselves to put on excellent broadcasts, and I always love to see the support, both for our drivers, the leagues, our broadcast teams, all of it. I love being a part of this community, and I hope to see this community of racers and leagues just grow even more. And so far, I would say in the past year that I've been doing this, it has done nothing but grow, and I'm just all for it. Here as we're going to get back to the action here. Lap 43 of 100. I know we kind of took a little bit of a lull there. Just kind of waiting for drivers to make their pit stops and get through their first stint of the night here. And so far, everything's been under green flag conditions. Everything has been phenomenal. We've only had that first caution that came out lap 7. And since then, it's been green and clean all the way since. So to see these drivers out here still clicking off. Oh, man. Oh, buddy, Nicholas Lovell, though, the 37 machine, he is just sliding around here at Pocono. Really, really great to see. And, I mean, some of these drivers, I mean, they're not going to be cold tires, but they're still new-ish tires, about 10 laps or so. I mean, so they're still, well, they're probably at their peak right now, if you will. Oh, but the track temps probably are not playing in the favor of these drivers. Actually, Oh, I don't know if I can. Unfortunately, I cannot show the actual track temperature, what it's at right now. I don't even have an idea myself, but I can probably assure you that with how much these drivers are sliding around right now, it ain't very cool. I'm sure if you walk out there with your Nike shoes on, you're probably going to end up sticking to the racetrack. Maybe not, but either way. Charles Durek, the 76 car, with Patrick Colby, the other driver, still awaiting to come down into pits. He is said, you know what, that's it. Lap 45 is where I'm going to call it. But 45 laps, that's 10 laps more than what we had, than what we were predicted here before the start of the race. It was 30 to 35 laps for your fuel. Okay, that's not even considering your tires. That's just your fuel alone. 30 to 35 laps is what was being predicted here. And for Patrick Colby, this is a little bit, well, you can kind of cheat a little bit here. Not necessarily cheat, but he took advantage of the caution lap that we had on lap 6, lap 7, somewhere in that margin. He came down, he obviously got some fuel, and it looks like he even got some tires as well based on his time down there in pits. So, you know, you're able to get a little bit more fuel in that situation. So if you kind of take lap 46 here, minus 7, he's still 5 laps more than what we were expecting here. So he's still pushing that margin. He's still going above and beyond what you can do here tonight at Pocono. So really great here for Patrick. I don't know what else he's got in mind here. I don't know if he's just gonna say, you know what, hey, I'm just gonna be the long stint king here and try and stay on as long as I possibly can every single time. But we'll just have to wait and see. We're looking at Howie Briss, Nicholas Lovell, Cody Wells, all kind of in this little 3-pack here, making their way nice and smooth out of turn 2 there. You know, I love it too when you can see as they come out of the turn, the car just correct itself to get straight again, because, you know, you're carrying so much momentum, so much speed through these turns, and to get yourself, you know, to say, hey, I don't need to keep going this direction anymore, I need to go straight, and to see that kind of visualize, I don't, it's just, it's satisfying. It's really great to see. But anyway, Nicholas Lovell with a great move here down on the inside of Cody Welch. Cody not wanting to see that here. He's going to keep up that momentum here out of turn 1, down the short, well, not short, long straightaway here into turn 2. Side by side here with Nicholas Lovell, lap 47 of 100. Just a few more laps until that halfway point. The 97 of Howie Briss, the current championship leader, just kind of staying on the tail end of whoever is faster at this point in time. And there he goes, keeping down on the inside here along with Nicholas Lovell, riding right on the bumper here. That's going to put Cody Welch a little bit further back than where he wants to be now. Almost a half a second separating Cody Welch and Howie Briss. But now it's going to be Howie, Nicholas side by side heading into turn 1. That's currently a lot of the, well, most of the action that we have here on the racetrack. If you're looking on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, I apologize if it's a little bit cut off. Sometimes, depending on the track size, it can it changes, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, you can see the difference between the entirety of the field here at the moment. So, you know, we've got drivers that are separated anywhere between 5/100ths of a second. Speaking of Nicholas Lovell and Howie Briss here right now, or we have drivers that are separated by 47 seconds even. Just, it all depends on where you are on this track and just how big it is. 2.5 miles here at Pocono. If you find yourself out of the draft, if you get caught out alone, chances are you're going to be stuck there for probably the entire race. Oh man, who was that? Who was that? Someone just went dirt tracking out of turn 3. Who was that? I really want to know who that was, because that was incredible. That was the... That was the sweetest slide I have ever seen. That was awesome. Corrected himself and everything. Kept it together. Oh, that was great. I wish we could have recaught that, but that's all right. We're just going to keep on going with the racing here. So, kind of talking about where things are going to look, well, not necessarily look, but where drivers are going to start to plan to come into pits again. Knowing that we've seen drivers stay all the way out 40 laps, I believe is what the max has been here, about 40 laps. So, let's say Aaron Smith is currently the leader. He came in lap 33. He had 40 to that. So, 73. So in that, I don't know. I mean, we could expect to see drivers 70, lap 75. That makes sense. But how are we going to see anyone kind of take advantage of that? If that makes any sort of sense. I mean, are we going to... Oh, gosh. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about pit strategy, but, you know, drivers are just... I don't want to say struggling, but drivers are having a heck of a time just keeping these race cars in a straight line. Anyhow, okay, so Howie Perez, Nicholas Lovell, we've been tuning along, watching with these guys for quite some time. Let's go ahead. I want to kind of show everyone watching at home kind of what we're looking at on the field right now. So, again, when I was showing, actually, this is a perfect time to bring that back up here. Looking at the track map, again, you can see all the time between drivers here, and frankly, again, with how big this track is, it's almost very easy for this whole field to kind of find their own little spot on the racetrack and just gotta hang out there. Just click off laps, stay comfortable, don't do anything too crazy. Just keep everything calm, cool, collected, and continue to hit your marks. I mean, that's really all you have to do. Pit strategy is when things start to get a little bit funky. You have to kind of keep numbers in your mind. You have to think about where you are, where your opponent is, how long it's going to take you to get through pit lane, and, you know, how effectively are you going to be able to move yourself through this field, especially when we have these long green flag runs that we're seeing just like this. How long this green flag run is going to go for? Who knows? It could go all the way until the checkered flag, and when that happens, it's extremely difficult to kind of plan your race around that because, I mean, frankly, a lot of drivers, sometimes, most of the time actually, are usually hoping for a caution. I mean, maybe not the leader, usually not the leader, but when you're a driver that's looking at, I got 5 seconds ahead of me, you know, to the leader, I've got 6 seconds, 8, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever the time is, it can almost kind of seem impossible to make that time up because you know that time isn't, you can't make that up anywhere. You know, you can drive as fast as you want, you can be as perfect in every sector of the track that you want to be in, but is it all going to add up, you know, to make up that difference in time? You have to start thinking to yourself, okay, what can I do? What can I realistically do to make up that time and get myself ahead of my opponent? And that's where pit strategy really starts to come in. You know, taking undercuts, coming in early, and hoping that being able to stay out a little bit longer than your opponent, and hoping and praying that your tires are going to last long enough. Or sometimes even I've seen drivers take it all the way until the end on little fumes in their tank. I'm pretty sure I actually called a race recently, not too long ago. It must have been a few weeks ago. Here is James Miller making his way down pit lane. Driver mentioned to me that he literally came across the line on nothing. His tank was basically actually was empty as he came across the line, and he was being ushered across the track by his competitors. It was incredible. I know in most real-life series you are penalized for that, but obviously this being a simulation, you don't necessarily have to worry about those kind of things, and it's kind of just a hee-haw moment. But either way, either how, it's one of those situations you're just like, wow, that just happened. So lap 55 of 100 here for the Pocono 250, the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Been a great race here thus far. Oh gosh. Every time we see two drivers side by side here, it's so tense. I love it. I'm all for it. Part of me almost even wants to you know what? No, not gonna do that, because then we're gonna be here all night. Jokes aside, though, it has been a phenomenal 56 laps out of 100. And while we have this little bit of time here, while drivers are just clicking off laps, taking things nice and easy, well, as easy as they can here. As we see Tony Hilbrand's get a little bit loose there, coming out of turn 3. We're going to go ahead, we're going to step away for just a moment here. Once again, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we will have more Pocono 250 here for the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, race fans, here to the Pocono 250. We're back here, lap 58 of 100. We've got Jaden Hopp coming down here into pit lane. Not exactly certain what for. Seems like a little bit of an early pit stop here. I'm not sure if he came into contact with something, made a little bit of a bluff tap to the wall somewhere, or something of that nature here. But either way, well, it looks like he was just coming in for fuel and tires, it seems like. Interesting. Anyway, we're looking at the top 3 right now, or rather the second and third place spot. Nicholas Lovell, Howie Briss, the 37 and 97 machines, making their way through turn 3 here. Taking a look back at last week's race results, just kind of seeing how things have played out so far for Nicholas Lovell here, as well as Howie Briss. Howie was able to come away with third place. Ooh, I'm actually looking at the wrong race here. I was looking at Dover. Let's actually look at our race here from New Hampshire last week. James Miller, Jaden Hopp, Howie Briss taking away our third place. Wow, okay, so I could have been right anyway, even if I was looking at Dover. Howie Briss, you know, he has been Mr. Consistency here as far as podiums have been concerned. Looking at third place here tonight at Pocono. I'm not sure if exactly that's where he's going to find himself once the race is all said and done here, but so far that'll put him up there into the top 3 once again for a 3rd time on the past 3 weeks. So again, gotta give credit to the 97 driver of Howie Briss, just keeping that consistency up there every single race, every single week. You know, again, we have seen 21 starts. Today will be 22 for the 97 driver, as well as Nicholas Lovell here in the 37 car. So both of these drivers have had the same number of race starts and have been almost neck and neck in this championship here, as they're going to go side by side heading into turn 2. Lovell going to fall right behind the 97 car. Howie Briss taking that 2nd place spot. He is going to lead the way for Nicholas Lovell, but honestly, I don't think Nick has any intentions of being led. He wants to be the leader. But they are both quickly working their way around some lap traffic here, it looks like. I'm not sure what, that's the 22 machine of James Coulibaly that they have in front of them currently. And it looks like James gonna do the sportsman-like thing of stay out of the way of the drivers on the lead lap here, just hold his racing line at the moment going through turn 1, but not wanting to put up any sort of fight. Oh man, Nicholas. You know, and that's the one thing here about Pocono. This track, given how flat it is, once it starts to heat up, it really becomes like glass. Down into pit lane here. And again, like I was talking about, folks, a little bit earlier, when we have these long green flag runs like this, this is where I think strategy can become a real interesting key to this race. I mean, and coming into a race like this, coming to Pocono, as a driver, you kind of have almost one of 2 thoughts going through your head. You either are confident and are just going to click off as many laps as you can, do as well as you can, place as well as you can, or you're not so confident and it's going to be not challenging, but not as easy as you would maybe prefer it to be. It's tough to explain, folks. These flat tracks, these large flat tracks, can pose a lot of different challenges for drivers. I mean, especially with how long these straightaways are, you get a lot of momentum built up, all just to have to bring it all back down to make your turn and do it quickly. I mean, it's extremely tough, and every single one of these drivers, they handle it differently. I feel there's no one way to tackle a track like this. You kind of have a lot of different styles, a lot of different strategies being played out. I mean, some drivers might be taking things a little bit more. Who is this down on the grass? William Britton, the 64 machine. I think he was trying to make his way down into pit lane and found himself a little bit down on the infield there into turn 3, but making his way down into pit lane here. Relatively unscathed, it seems. So with how difficult this race is starting to look at this moment, I mean, for drivers that aren't Aaron Smith right now. And speaking of, I have to point this out. This is just incredible. We're going to see if we can get a shot here. We're currently locked on with Howie Briss, the 97 car. You can kind of see the black and red there making his way down the the long straightaway out of turn 1 into turn 2 right now. I'm hoping to see the leader, Aaron. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can just get. Okay, wow, he was really far ahead of the rest of the field here. So essentially, what I was trying to get at here is that Aaron Smith has pulled nearly 15 and a half seconds between himself and second place, Howie Briss, at this point in time. I don't even have words. That is just insanity. 15 and a half. I mean, you're practically just, you could, I mean, at this point, Aaron could almost just kind of pop it into second gear, you know, just kind of cruise it around the track for a second, and he'd still be okay. I don't recommend doing that, but he could if he wanted to. I mean, I don't, folks, I don't know if any of you, you know, ever played games like Need for Speed Underground or Gran Turismo, Drive, any sort of games like that, you know, and you as a kid, as a young, small child, you know, sometimes it would be fun to just set the AI to the easiest difficulty and just run laps around them until you basically could just stop somewhere in the middle of the track, leave your controller, go grab a drink, do what you have to do, and come back and you'd still be in the lead of the race. I don't know. Things like that were always fun to me as a kid. Maybe I'm just weird. Whatever. Anyway, anyhow, that's kind of what it's feeling like here for Aaron Smith at the moment. Woo! Okay. All right. So Aaron Smith, he's going to come into pit lane a little bit earlier. Just a little bit. Only about 4 laps earlier than what I was expecting here for him to come down into the pits. But this is where the time that he's built up is really going to kind of show its, well, it's either going to help him or it's not. And I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to work out for Aaron Smith. But having led a good chunk of the laps here tonight and competing as well as he has here, frankly, I'm not sure who else is going to put up a fight here with Aaron. I mean, we still have the rest of the field needing to come down into pits now, the exception being Jaden Hopp. Now that I'm looking at things, okay, so things really, you know what, folks, I mentioned this earlier. I was talking with Tony Hilbrands before the start of the race here tonight, and he mentioned it, he said it himself, that pit strategies will be huge for tonight's race, and I couldn't agree more, because frankly, me as a commentator, as a broadcaster, I can't read the minds of every single driver out here on track. So I have no idea what their plan is, what sort of game plan they have. It's always kind of just a surprise to not only myself, I'm sure to a lot of you watching at home as well, just kind of what they're planning, especially for this race. I mean, again, I don't think any one of these drivers was expecting a green flag run quite like this, but you kind of have to plan for these sort of things, and I think right now we're starting to see some drivers plan ahead here. And right now for Jaden Hopp, the 81 car, he has managed to place himself just ahead of Aaron Smith, with about 3.5 seconds separating these two drivers right now. Howie Briss also making his way down into pits as well at this point in time. Scott Shire going to take the lead at this point in time, but he came in lap 37, so I'm going to be expecting that number 4 car to follow suit here before too long. So right now it's looking like Jaden Hopp has just snuck his way into the lead of this race purely by strategy alone. Just by strategy. Absolutely incredible So Jaden Hopp coming in lap 57 about, well, actually 9 laps earlier than Aaron Smith. So he's going to have slightly older tires, but again, he's going to have that little bit of a gap separating himself and Aaron. He's going to have to work with that. He's really going to have to keep consistent here, flick off those laps, and really just stay on the ball here. That's really the name of the game here for Jaden Hopp. And for Aaron Smith, I mean, I'm really curious. Actually, you know what? Man. Just taking a moment here to ride on board with Aaron Smith. And, you know, you can you almost see Jaden just a little bit. He's currently side by side with someone. Lap traffic at the moment. But Aaron Smith here, I mean, oh, gosh. Just look at the steering input here from Aaron. Just trying to make a lap here at Pocono. You can hear the shifting happening here. Listen. Hitting that shift, getting down to a speed that is reasonable to make that turn, it can be tough. And you know, the thing that I've noticed as a sim racer, and I'm sure a lot of people have as well, you know, learning to get that shift down and not let the car spin out can be challenging. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but you know, trying to make that downshift while you're making that turn, something about it just wants to unsettle the car, and it can be tough. But these drivers, very skilled, very talented, and are able to just make it look easy. Meanwhile, Max Newworth, he's came down into the pits. The number 66 machine going to start his, well, technically second pit stop of the night here. And if we look at our timing tower at the moment, you know, this field has really seen quite the separation here as we're looking at the track map here once again. So a lot of this field, again, has seen themselves get separated by, I'm seeing anywhere between 1 to 40 seconds and beyond. This is a tough racetrack to try and keep, well, pack racing going, just given how large it is. But it's also one of those tracks where pit strategy is going to play in your favor more than you think. Riding out of the rear view of Tony Hillbrand's in the number 92 machine. We're making our way down the front straightaway. We just crossed the checkered line, heading our way into turn 1 at this moment. Lap 73 of 100, just a few more laps until we reach the final 25 laps left to go here for the Pocono 250 of the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Scott Shire making his way down into the pits at this moment, so that's going to leave Jaden Hopp, the number 81 machine, up in first place here with Aaron Smith right on his side. I didn't even, wow, okay, I should have caught that, but Aaron Smith down on the inside of Jaden Hopp here, the driver with 10 lap older tires than that of Aaron Smith, but Aaron making quick work of the 81 machine, able to get around the inside through turn 1. now making their way through turn 2. So the real question for Jaden Hopp remains, how close is he going to be able to keep to Aaron Smith? I mean, right now we're seeing about a little over a quarter second of a gap separating these two, but I mean, if Jaden is able to remain consistent here and kind of push himself on these turns, he might quite possibly be able to keep himself close enough to the leader to make this a very tight battle for the lead. And the next driver that would be close enough to compete with these two is Patrick Colby in that third place spot, sitting about 8 seconds behind them at this moment. But Patrick Colby, if you remember as well, came into the pits the latest out of the rest of the field here. So the number 9 machine, and kind of setting the benchmark for tonight's race for your pit strategy. He came in, actually it was exactly 40 laps for the number 9 car. So for Patrick, I mean, he is kind of the long run master here, if you will, and given how long this race has gone green for, it might even play in favor here for Patrick if he continues on this path. So we've kind of seen an interesting change in dynamic here for this race in general. Jaden Hopp has started to kind of put himself into the play here just by strategy alone, as well as Patrick Colby. Jaden Hopp taking the undercut, Patrick Colby taking the over. So we've got literally the best of 3 worlds here. We've got Aaron Smith, who's just plain old, just staying fast and consistent. We've got Jaden Hopp, who's really just trying to play this undercut game, and Patrick Colby, who's doing the exact opposite of Jaden, playing the over. How this is going to work out for all 3 of these, well, frankly, with 25 laps to go, some of you watching are probably not going to like to hear this, but my money's on Aaron Smith right now. And that's not because he's won 8 races, but because he has shown so far the fastest pace tonight. With a best lap time of 57.73, that is, from what I'm understanding, it is the fastest time of the night. And right now, the last time around, he was clicking off a 58.26, so it's purely just a matter of consistency and speed here for the number 70 car. He's just able to keep himself up there and just hit his marks every single time, and that's what you want to do here. We're looking at Cody Welch, Tony Hilbrand duking it out side by side. The 85 of Welch down on the inside here through turn 2. Hilbrand's getting stuck behind here just a little bit, going down the short straightaway into turn 3. A little bit of a wall tap there from the 92 car. That's going to slow him down just a little tad bit. Cody Welch, though, he's going to take advantage of that through turn 3. Tony Hilbrand might have made up a little bit of that lost time there as we come onto the front straightaway. And again, so there's not a whole lot of drivers. Actually, there isn't any drivers that are side by side or really kind of competing closely. I mean, this is kind of the closest battle that we have at the moment. And that's not because of, it plainly just comes down to the fact that we have been green flagged since lap 9? 8? 9? Actually, I can go back and look here. Lap 9. Okay, yes, I was correct. So lap 9. So we have been green for almost 70 laps now. And that's what happens here with races like this on a track this large. And I don't think any single one of these drivers was going to be expecting this sort of outcome for this race. I mean, you come to Pocono, especially the old scan. I mean, Again, this is my first time at the original scan of Pocono on the iRacing service, so I'm not exactly I'm not too familiar with the racing here on this original layout. Well, not layout, but scan. And a lot of you might be wondering or asking yourself, what's the difference? What's the difference between each of the scans? Well, thankfully, with the technology that is available to the team at iRacing, they are able to utilize laser scanning tools that are accurate to a degree that is basically beyond, virtually unrecognizable to the human eye. It is very, very fine detail. So when you take, for example, you take the scan of the 2008 Pocono Raceway and you compare it to the newer scan of Pocono Raceway. I don't know the exact date of when the new one was created. I would have to assume 2015, 2016. It's probably been a few years. I could be wrong on that. If anyone wants to correct me, feel free. But point being is that between those time periods, changes may have happened to the racetrack. For example, Pocono has seen significant changes since then, and the race surface could also be repaved, could have additions added, certain parts of the track may be resurfaced. A good example of this would be the Nordschleife in Germany, the Nürburgring, where parts of that track can be patched or updated because, racetracks don't always hold up to the times. And, with 10, 20, 30 plus cars racing around them week in, week out, it definitely has wear and tear. So, again, it all comes down to things that really the human eye cannot see, cannot really identify, but it's those fine details that really help kind of, sell the idea of being at the Pocono racetrack, or any racetrack that is on the iRacing service. It's really an interesting thing to be able to do. I mean, if you haven't done it yourself, if you haven't turned a lap with any car on any track on the iRacing service, I highly recommend that you do so if you are able to. It's an extremely great experience, to say the least. You could pick any racetrack, and I'm sure that if you went to the real-life version of it, you would be able to turn a lap yourself. Maybe not quite as fast as what you would do in sim, but you definitely know where you are, and you would know where to go. Laps left to go here. We're looking at Tony Hillbrandt's Cody Wells. They're still just duking it out side by side. I mean, these two drivers, I've kind of just been ranting and raving over here for the past few minutes, and they've just continued to just turn laps with each other. They're both sitting in that 6th and 7th place spot. And again, with how long this race has gone green for, I think a lot of these drivers, again, that don't have the name Aaron Smith, are going to be hoping for a caution. Patrick Colby, the number 9 machine, making his way down into the pit. Oh, Tony, come on, man. Don, I hope you're still watching, because Tony just made quite the correction there to keep himself on the racetrack. That was almost looking a little grim there for a second, but Man, 17 laps left to go. You just have to keep it on the racetrack, man. And this is another kind of interesting thing to think about here. You know, some of these drivers, they came in. Jaden Hopp, for example, lap 57. Cody Wells, 64. Tony Hildebrand's lap 66. So, I mean, some of these drivers not exactly going to be pushing it per se on the pit strategy, but for drivers like Jaden Hopp, I mean, it's going to be cutting it pretty close, and I'm going to be curious to see how that's going to affect their pace here once we get kind of towards the final 10 or final 5 laps of the race here. But there's still a lot of time left to be had and plenty of racing left to be done. Dawn's on the edge of her seat. I'm on the edge of my seat. I know the action right now. I mean, we're seeing a lot of just drivers just kind of taking things easy right now, just clicking off these laps and in their own little groove of things right now. But frankly, I don't really. Whoa, okay. Did not expect to see that here. Jaden Hopp coming down into the pits here, lap 81. The driver that, you know, again, I was talking about. You know, we had a driver that was on excuse me. We had a driver that was kind of on the undercut strategy. We had the driver that was on the over. Jaden here taking that undercut strategy. He's going to come down into pits here with 15 laps to go. And Ray Aguilar in the chat chiming in saying, I can smell a late caution. Ray, I don't know if you've been here a while or you just know things, but I don't like where this is going, to say the least. A late caution in this race here. You know, everything has gone green. Oh, no, please, no. Oh, no. Jaden Hopp here. I don't see a caution, though. Interestingly enough, I don't see a caution. Jaden Hopp, though, the 81 machine. Oh, no, Tony Hildebrand. What? Oh, no, Tony, the 92 machine. Just on the outside. No, Ray, you did it. You did it. Ray, I'm blaming you for this one. This is not on me. This is not commentator's curse. So, oh gosh, how many laps has this been? Literally 80 laps. 80 laps since the last time that we've seen a yellow flag here at Pocono for the Pocono 250. Oh, Ray, yeah, you definitely called it. You definitely called that one. But 80 laps since the last time that we, well, actually, okay, no, excuse me. 78 laps since the last time that we had a caution here for the Pocono 250. Ray Aguilar in the chat calling it. He's a genius. He's saying it. This is, you know, I've been talking about this for a little bit now. This is probably, I mean, if you're Aaron Smith, probably not what you want to see. If you're Howie Briss, if you're Nicholas Lovell, if you're Cody Welch, Scott Shire, Tony Hildebrand, Patrick Colby, all of these drivers have been clawing and climbing their way to the top here, trying to get their way into whether it's the top 5, the top 3, or even the lead of this race here tonight. And finally, after 78 laps, the opportunity has come. What an incredible race that we've had here tonight, folks. I'm on the edge of my seat. I am absolutely excited to see what happens here tonight as we see drivers making their way down through pit road. A smart strategy for all of these drivers, but also going to see a lot of the other field here stay out, keep themselves on the racetrack here. But while these drivers have a little bit of time and get themselves sorted out and through the pits, we are going to take a final commercial break here in... Oh, Bubble. What are you doing? That's not how you do that. Anyhow, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the action of the Pocono 250 for the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Good Squad. Race fans, the second caution here with only 11 laps to go for the Pocono 250 of the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Don Hilbrand's in the chat saying you jinxed it, and I'm here to defend myself and say that Ray Aguilar is actually the one to blame here for the caution. I did not bring the commentator's curse. I am fully placing the blame on Ray. Ray, if you're still watching, I'm just teasing. Thank you for joining me and enjoying the race here tonight. It's been a phenomenal race here, and frankly, you know, I was almost half expecting it myself. Thomas Sewell, I saw that before you removed it, but hello. Welcome to the chat, welcome to the race, to the broadcast. Hope you're enjoying the action here tonight, Tom. Great to have you here. Love to see you every broadcast that I get to chat with you in, or well, at least intermittently chat with, if you will. But the lights are off on the pace car. It's Patrick Colby, Howie Briss in your front row, Aaron Smith and Scott Shire in the second row, Cody Welch and Benny Hogan in the third row. Yeah, Tom, I think... Oh, okay. The lights came back on. That's interesting. Alright, so it looks like they needed another lap to sort things out here, but we will be back to green flag the next time around. So once we come across the checkered line, it'll be 9 laps left to go here for the Pocono 250. Thomas saying, I think it's becoming clear who has the juice in this league. You know, Aaron, I think, I hope that's who you're talking about, but Aaron has had quite the season here and has, man, just shown complete dominance in every single race that he's been in. Even though he's not competing for the championship, he's only shown up for just a little over half of the races of the season and has still shown just the absolute dominance in that 70 car. Big Mike saying to the point that I wonder why some of us even race. Oh, man. You know, honestly, I don't think if there wasn't any other competition here, I don't think this would be nearly as interesting to witness. I mean, we have so many other strong drivers in this league that all put on a strong performance week in and week out. It's just really interesting to see the dynamic that's played out for this season and for this league. But the pace car making that dive down into pit lane. The green flag flies once again here, and it's 9 laps left to go. Here at Pocono Raceway for the Pocono 250, Patrick Colby, the number 9 machine, taking the lead here. Let's see what these drivers have in store. Howie Briss on the outside here. Gonna take it through turn 1. Not able to keep up quite with the number 9 of Patrick Colby. It looks like Nicholas Lovell, he got a little bit of a slip up there out of turn 1. Down the first straightaway into turn 2. Colby, Briss, side by side. Little bit of contact there between Shire and Howie Briss there. They keep it clean though. Through turn 2, down the short straightaway, heading into turn 3. Patrick Colby, Aaron Smith taking that first and second place spot. Oh, we've got the number 5, Benny Hogan. He's sideways. The 37, Nicholas Lovell. He's also getting into the mix here. Not quite the big one, but almost looking that way. Let's take a look at the instant replay of what happened here. Oh, no. Tony Hilbrand's. He tried so hard, it seemed, to get around Benny Hogan before that contact was made. Let's back that up here. I want to look at that one more time. And we'll see if we can get a closer angle of that. Watch Tony Hilbrand's the 92 machine. Yeah, see, he tried to go up to the middle outside line around Benny Hogan, but he clipped the right rear bumper of that number 5 machine. That sent him spinning around into Nicholas Lovell, the 37 car, ultimately bringing out the caution here. Woo-wee, folks. I'm at a loss for words here. I mean, frankly, I hope that this doesn't end under yellow flag conditions. I would hate to see that happen, but this has been an incredible build-up to this moment. I mean, Patrick Colby, you know, I'm remembering now correctly, it was Patrick Colby who had the undercut, Jaden Hopp, I believe, with the over. Patrick here really kind of defining the pit strategy role here tonight and showing that you can put yourself in the lead of the race without having to fight for it necessarily lap after lap. It's an interesting concept, and it's really great to see it play out in favor of the number 9 of Patrick Colby here. Aaron Smith, Cody Welch, the number 85 car. Cody having a number of supporters behind him here in the race chat, or well, in the broadcast chat every single week. It's great to see Cody finally get himself up here into the top 3 with only 7 laps left to go. We've got probably, I would say, 2 or 3 laps left before we get back to green flag racing, and with yellow laps counting, by the time we get back to green here, it'll probably be lap 5, lap 4. Thomas Sewell saying Tony definitely tried to avoid that too. Hard times there. Yeah, really, really tough break for Tony. You know, that I wish I should have gone back and kind of done a cockpit view from the 92's perspective of that, because I'm sure that from the inside of that 92 car, you would have just seen that wheel just take a hard right to try and avoid that number 5. But ultimately, it just, things happen so fast on the racetrack that you often just don't have that time to work with. Ray Aguilar saying Patrick Colby needs a gap. And you know, Patrick, that is a great point here. And with Aaron Smith on his outside here in the front row, man, let me tell you, he is going to have his hands full. The lights are off on the pace car as well, so once we come back to green here, it will be 5 laps left to go here for the Pocono 250. Patrick Colby, Aaron Smith, Howie Briss, Cody Welch, Tony Hilbrand, Scott Shire, all in your top 6. Who's your vote? Who's going to come away with the win here for the Pocono 250? Let me know in the comments, who do you got for your win here tonight? Right now, I don't know. I'm rooting. Man, I don't know who to root for. You know what? I'm going to go with Patrick Colby, because Patrick Colby has been fighting for this position all race long, and I don't think, if I'm not mistaken here, Patrick Colby has not won a race or has put himself on the pole once this season. So even if Patrick doesn't come away with necessarily a win here tonight, he's going to come away with a top 3, putting himself on that pole here tonight. That's going to be a great finish here for the number 9 car. So I'm going to give it to Patrick Colby. Let's see what he's got in store, and let's see if he's got what it takes to put himself in the on top here for the finish here at Pocono. As we come out of turn 3 here, the pace car is going to make its dive down into pit lane. And we'll be back to green flag racing here. There the pace car goes. Green flag in hand, and down it goes by the marshal. Back to green flag racing. We are stacked up bumper to bumper here throughout the field. Tony Hilbrand trying to take it 3 wide along with other drivers here. Aaron Smith, Patrick Colby side by side. Howie, or no, that's Cody Welch. He's down on the inside through turn 1. He's on the inside of Patrick Colby. Not quite able to keep up the pace here out of turn 1 onto the long straightaway heading into turn 2. You also see Tony Hilbrand way down on the inside line here, heading towards turn 2, trying to see what he can make up here to push himself up here into the top 5. A little bit of contact here as we work our way through turn 2. Benny Hogan, he's the casualty this time around here as well. Tony Hilbrand's making some of that contact here as well. Oh my. Let's see what happened here in this instant replay. Oh, Nicholas Lovell with a slight tap to Benny Hogan, and I think Benny Hogan also caught a little bit of that as well. Let's back things up here, take a little bit of a better view at what, oh, okay, so this starts a little bit before that. Okay, so here we see Tony Hilbrand make that contact there with Cody Welch in the 85 machine. Benny Hogan then makes contact to Tony Hilbrand. Nicholas Lovell not able to check up to that. Someone else also getting a little bit loose there. Oh, man. Ray, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it, Ray? I'm only teasing, but, you know, I think the old saying still remains true to this day. Cautions breed cautions. And with tensions kind of all building up until these final few laps here, I mean, there's no real other way to explain it. Tensions are high, drivers are all fighting for positions, and it's a very tense battle here all the way until the end. And I mean, with only 4 laps left to go, I believe we are tapping into our
will be tapping into our first green-white checkered attempts.
So we've got a couple different votes in the chat. We've got Aaron for the win. Aaron Smith for the win. We've got Tony Hillbrands for the win. And by judging by Big Mike 53's comment, Patrick is not liking this, I would think. I'm thinking that Big Mike is going to be giving the favor to Aaron Smith here. But Thomas Sewell also chiming in saying impressed with Patrick Colby. I'm frankly, for Patrick Colby here, again, this is a driver that we have not seen up here on the pole. We've not seen with a win here this season. I mean, this is kind of a first time here for Patrick, but he has kind of shown his talent. He's shown his knowledge here at Pocono. And I think that here tonight he is hopefully going to carry forward a lot of momentum into the rest of the season. Now, I know it's relatively late in the season. He's probably not going to be competing for any sort of championship spot, but regardless of that matter, being sort of late into the season and coming home with a win or even a podium is always going to be a great bit of motivation. It's going to help propel you forward into your future endeavors. I mean, whether it's going forward into the rest of the season and, hey, maybe you come home with a podium or a top 5 or a top 10 every single race after tonight, whatever it is, it's always carrying that success, carrying that momentum forward and applying it and improving yourself. Ray, thank you very much for tuning in tonight and joining us for the broadcast here tonight and enjoying the race here. I think you're right, though. I think a caution was inevitable. How long these drivers were all going out for on that green flag run. A mistake was bound to be made, and not unfortunately, but we saw that happen, and now drivers are gonna have to see what they can do here in the final 3 laps here at Pocono. I'm excited. I am really excited to see what's gonna shape up here for this race here tonight. Patrick Colby, Aaron Smith, your front runners. Jaden Hopp, Howie Briss in your second row with Tony Hillbrands and Cody Welch in your third row here tonight. Here as we come through turn 3. The pace car is going to make its way. Oh, nope, this is turn 2. Excuse me. Thomas Sewell, when a guy is running first against the likes of the 70 and 97 at this point in the race, have to give some love. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Patrick Colby competing with drivers like Aaron Smith and Howie Briss, just like Thomas Sewell mentioned, the 70 and the 97 driver. That is nothing to shrug your shoulders at. Pace car making its dive down into the pit lane for what will probably be the last time here at Pocono Raceway for the Pocono 250. Back to green flag racing here as the green flag drops into turn 1 we go. Let's see what these drivers have in store for the final couple laps here at Pocono Raceway. Heading into turn 1, it's Colby, it's Aaron Smith side by side. 2 wide, 3 deep up in the front of the field here. Couple bits of shuffling happening out of turn 1 onto the long straightaway. Heading into turn 2, Aaron Smith, he's up on top, able to get away from the rest of this field here. Patrick Colby not able to get that gap that he was looking for and probably hoping for there on this restart here for the final 2 laps at Pocono. Howie Briss sitting in that third place spot with Jaden Hopp. Tony Hillbrand's fourth and fifth place here. A little bit of separation between them. Coming out of turn 3 onto the front straightaway. Benny Hogan, he's sideways along with the 22 of Patrick Colby, but the white flag flies. Nope, never mind. The checkered. Let me get my flags right. The yellow flag flies once again here at Pocono Raceway. So that's going to tap us into our second green-white checkered attempt here for tonight. So Patrick Colby, he's going to have another shot here at trying to take that gap here for the lead. But now that he's starting on the outside row here, I don't know if he's going to be able to pull that off. He might be able to with a little bit of help from the 81 car of Jaden Hopp, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, this is going to be an extremely tough restart for these drivers. And with, I mean, 3 laps of 7.5 miles of racing, anything is going to happen here. Folks, that's why I love having the having the chat talking about the race, because it gives me something to laugh about while you guys are discussing the shenanigans that may or may not be happening on the racetrack. But what cannot be denied at this point in time, Patrick Colby, the number 9 machine, he's got to put himself in a spot to get around the number 70 car. Now, how he's going to be able to do this, it's tough, okay? It's really tough. You've got Howie Briss sitting in that third place spot in the inside of row 2. Howie is going to do everything that he can to push himself up to Aaron Smith, to keep himself right to the bumper of that 70 car. For Patrick Colby, if he wants to maybe, I think personally for Patrick, the best thing that he could probably do, because you cannot rely on the drivers behind you providing that draft that you need to push yourself ahead of the driver on your inside. You kind of have to shove your way into that inside line and hope and pray that you're able to get around the driver ahead of you on a turn somewhere. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here tonight, but we're just going to have to wait and see. We've already got some people saying that it's grip hacks. I don't know for certain, but we'll have to wait and see. Big Mike, Patrick needs to use that gamer lean. I'm sorry. That was funny. That got me. Ray Aguilar, is this an open league setup? I don't think so. If I remember correctly, this is a fixed setup league. Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it is. I call so many races for different leagues that I often forget which ones are open and which ones are fixed. Okay, so Big Mike and Thomas Sewell both chiming in. Thank you both. It is a fixed league setup. I thought I was right on that. It is a fixed league setup. The setups are provided by the league owner, Tony Hillbrand's in the number 92 machine, who's also competing in the race here tonight, currently sitting in that 6th place spot. So Tony does a phenomenal job of bringing these setups for all of these drivers. setting up the races and just overall just doing a great job managing the league and making sure that all of these drivers are able to compete on a weekly basis. So the lights are off on the pace car as we make our way through turn 2 here. Just a little bit short amount of time here before we go back to green flag racing here. All right, folks, here we go. I hope you're on the edge of your seat because I know that I certainly am. The green flag is going to drop here for what will probably be the last time here at Pocono Raceway for the Pocono 250. Patrick Colby, Aaron Smith, side by side, heading into turn 2. Jaden Hopp, Howie Briss also side by side here again. Like I was talking about Patrick Colby, he's going to have to find some room down on the inside line to be able to... No, out of turn 1, he gets a little bit loose, shuffles himself into the side of the 97 of Howie Briss. Howie's also going to have a little bit of contact there, suffering some positions. Oh no, Patrick Colby, the driver that... Oh man. Okay, no, that's not going to do it. We got to back this up here. We're going to back this up just a little bit further. Oh, man. Okay, we're going to back this up to right about here, right into turn 1. Heading into turn 1, there's a little bit of contact between Aaron Smith, Patrick Colby. Through turn 1, everything is nice and smooth, but once we get out of turn 1, the number 9 gets sideways. He smacks the front right of Howie Briss. Howie able to recover from that. Patrick able to as well, but not without suffering a massive loss of position here, down to 11th place here at the moment. Absolutely crushing. But as the drivers get themselves sorted out here once again for the next restart, we're going to go ahead and just enjoy the sights and sounds for a moment, and we will be right back. Actually, we're going to tune to a commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a few moments. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, race fans. 3 laps left to go into our third green-white checkered attempt here for the Pocono 250 with the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Aaron Smith, Jaden Hopp, Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrands, Nicholas Lovell, all in your top 5 here. Aaron Smith having led quite the majority of the laps here this race. The next driver that we were hoping to see come across the checkered line for a podium here tonight, Patrick Colby, the number 9 machine, not quite finding himself in the best spot here this last time, or well, before this caution that we're on right now, finding himself involved in a little bit of an incident, putting himself back into 11th place here on this restart. Patrick Colby having had an incredible run here going into the final half, well, final stint of this race here, if you will. Was probably hoping for a podium, but man, was not expecting this race to go on as long as it has. Thomas Sewell, 80 laps without a caution, and then it's straight my tie. But yeah, folks, that is, I mean, almost kind of the action that we see here a lot of the times with Velocity Racing League. A lot of the intense racing doesn't happen until the final few laps, when everyone is just kind of dealing with restarts or just trying to fight for position until the very end. But here we go. I know I said it last time, but let's hope that this is the last time that we see the caution flag, and the last time that we see the green flag drop here at Pocono Raceway, as we go back to green flag racing with Jaden Hopp, Aaron Smith, side by side into turn 1. You can also see Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrands, side by side. It's not looking good though for the 81 machine. The big one is out of turn 1. Multiple drivers involved here. Oh no, folks, just when we thought it was gonna get good. Oh, we're going to have to do the same thing as before and back things up just a little bit further to catch more of the action here. Heading into out of turn 1, actually. There you see Jaden Hopp get a little bit loose and into Tony Hillbrands, and from there it just spirals into worse and worse conditions. You see Nicholas Lovell, Howie Briss, Charles Jurek, all of these drivers involved on this caution. Luckily for these drivers, for this league, there is an unlimited amount of green-white checkered attempts, but the time is only limited by the race session itself. And if I'm understanding things correctly, the race session is only allowed to go for 3 hours. We're almost to that 2.5 hour mark, so frankly, folks, you know, we could see another 40 minutes of green-white checkered attempts before we actually declare a winner here tonight. Don Hillbrand's saying no, but Don, I don't know if you noticed, but Tony's in 3rd right now. I don't know if I would be saying no right now. This is
I mean, as much... Oh, okay, no, that's not what you want to see. Wait. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, with 3 laps left to go, we have drivers faking out the field to go down. Oh, that is beautiful. I love to see it. Love to see it. All right, well, that's going to shuffle some drivers well out of position here. Woo! Okay, so, John, I don't know if you just saw that, but Tony just managed to put himself into second place here. I don't know. I mean, maybe there are some drivers here that need fuel. Maybe they need tires. I frankly, I haven't noticed. Okay, now that I'm actually looking at things a little bit here, you know, so we're already, once we come across the line, even with the pace car, it'll be 10 laps over the 100 laps that we were expecting here tonight. And a lot of these drivers came in, looks like lap 88, lap 93, in between that margin. So, I don't know anymore, folks. This is all just pure luck. Well, not pure luck, but it's all just comes down to who's got it, who's got what it takes here at this point. And right now, Hillbrands, Smith, the 92, the 70 machine, gonna be duking it out side by side. Lights go off on the pace car. This will be the last time around before we go back to green flag racing here once again. And I want to just take a moment here to thank every single one of you that has tuned in and watched the broadcast here tonight. This wouldn't be possible without all of you. You know, without people tuning in and watching these broadcasts, well, there wouldn't be any reason for us to be here. So without you guys, thank you. Don Hillbrand's not sure if I can handle this much more. Holy cow. Yeah, I agree, Don. I'm in the same boat as you. This is coming down to the wire here as we come through turn 2 down to the short straightaway to turn 3. Folks, for every single one of you that's been watching the past 20 laps, this is it. At least I hope. I hope so, for the sake of these drivers. This is it. Because for us as viewers, for myself as a commentator, it's, you know, it's fun to see these restarts. It's fun to see these drivers try and work their way through it. But I know that it's got to be tiring behind that wheel. Let's get ready to go back to racing as the pace car makes its dive down to pit lane. The green flag in hand by the marshal, and down it goes. Back to green flag racing here at Pocono Raceway. It's Aaron Smith, Tony Hillbrand. Almost side. Wow. Look at that, Aaron Smith. He went way down to the bottom of the track, trying to break up all that air behind him, not letting anyone build up the draft behind him. Out of turn 1, down the long straightaway, heading into turn 2. Benny Hogan, who we've seen already have a couple mishaps in the past few restarts, heading into turn 2. We're 3 wide, heading in. Oh no! Benny Hogan, Tony Hillbrands, they make contact through turn 2 onto the short straightaway to turn 3. The caution flag flies here once again Will we see this race end under checkered flag conditions? Let's take a look at the instant replay and see what happened here on this one. Having to back things up here just a little bit. There you see Tony Hilbrand's Benny Hogan making that contact through turn 2. A couple other drivers making their way onto the grass into the infield. That will be our 8th caution of the night here tonight. With Aaron Smith, Benny Hogan in your front row, Tony Hilbrand's Matthew Fitz in your second row. So this field, this top 5 continues to change. Thomas Sewell in the chat saying tires now. So, are we going to see any drivers make their way through pit lane to try and get that tire advantage? Speaking of tire advantage here, oh, here we go. Okay, so Tony Hilbrand's, he committed this time around along with James Coulibaly, Scott Shire. They're all going to come down into pit lane, and for Aaron Smith, the last time he came down into pits was lap 88. Now, folks, if you'll remember, the stints for tonight were between 30 and 35 laps. Max what we've seen is about 40. So, and given that we've gone over the expected race length of tonight, we started out with 100 laps. We're currently working on lap 113. For Aaron Smith, I mean, he has got to be right on the tail end of the lifespan of those tires. And Benny Hogan in that second, Benny Hogan and Matthew Fitz in that second and third place spot both came in lap 101. So the difference in tires between these 3 drivers alone kind of bodes the question. I mean, is Aaron Smith going to be able to hold off these 2 competitors? I mean, we all know, we've seen the dominance out of the 70 car of Aaron Smith. We know that he's able to maintain that consistency. He's able to keep himself out there on the racetrack, keeping that pace lap after lap. But here's the thing. He's on the oldest set of tires here in the top 5. Well, correction. Howie Briss, in that 5th place spot, he's also in that same window. So both of these drivers are going to be fighting these older tires here on this. I mean, this is going to be tough for every single one of these drivers, and well, particularly for Aaron Smith and Howie Briss. When you have Benny Hogan, Matthew Fitz, Max Newworth, granted they're a little bit differing pit times or pit laps, they're still going to have roughly 20 laps more tire wear than Aaron Smith at this point in time. So I don't know, folks. With 3 laps, with this next green-white checkered attempt, I mean, I'm very curious to see how the drivers that are on these older tires are going to fare against these drivers that have decided to take advantage of these late race cautions and get a fresh set of tires, get maybe a little bit of fuel, and hope for the best. This is going to be an interesting end to the race here tonight, folks. Hogan up here in the front row. Benny has been another driver that has done quite well in this series. He's been in the top 10 pretty much the majority of the races that he's been in. He hasn't taken home a win. He's only come away with a pole once. Will he be able to make that a second time here tonight? And will Aaron Smith be able to tack on to the 8 races that he's won here already and make it 9? As we come out of turn 3 here, the pace car making its dive down into pit lane here. Aaron Smith with a very, very good launch here off the start, heading into turn 1. Over 3 wide here. A little bit of contact between a few drivers there. Max Newworth, Matthew Fitz, I know Benny Hogan as well in that 3-pack. Coming out of turn 1, that's the spot where we've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes, and it doesn't come without fault this time around. Tony Hildebrand's involved in this one here. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened right when things all seem settled and well here. Can't even hold on a second. What happened here? We're watching the 92, the bright green machine. What in the world happened here? Did he make contact with Benny Hogan? Okay, we're gonna ride on board here with the cockpit camera. Oh, man. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, Tony Hildebrand was carrying just an incredible amount of momentum through that turn, and just, I don't even have words to explain that. It's just one of those situations as a driver where everything happens so quickly and you only have fractions of a second to work with to react. Tony, that is an extremely unfortunate event to have happen here. So once again, we are going to have the front of the field change here. Once again, Aaron Smith, he's still holding on to that lead. I think right now it's Aaron Smith's race. Oh. Couple drivers trying to fake their way down into pit lane here. And I mean, really, for the drivers that are up here in the lead, you really want to try and do that to the guys that are either immediately behind you or just behind you, because it'll only help in your favor. But I mean, what's interesting here is Aaron Smith, I mean, still on the same set of tires, same bit of fuel since lap 88. And folks, we're working on lap 117 at this time. So folks, I hope everyone watching and tuning in tonight has enjoyed the racing so far, and from my knowledge, this has been the longest race that we've had here with Velocity Racing League, and as far as I know, this might be the most cautions that we've had here for a VRL Cup Series race. Oh, Aaron. I think Aaron is... I think Aaron's nervous. Looking at the field right now, I mean, Aaron definitely seems very eager. Well, I don't want to say very eager, but I think he's hoping, has been hoping for the field to come down to the pits with him. But he knows that's going to come at a cost now. I mean, man. For a driver that's been in the lead this long, I mean, this has been probably the most excruciating race for Aaron Smith thus far in his season. Out of turn 2. And into turn 3. It's Aaron Smith, Max Newworth. Row 1, Matthew Fitz, Nicholas Lovell. Row 2, Howie Briss and Patrick Colby in row 3. Pace car making its dive down into pit lane. The green flag flies here once more. Aaron Smith, Max Newworth, side by side here. Aaron Smith on the oldest set of tires here throughout the rest of the field. He's going to have quite the competition set against him. Working our way through turn 1. Patrick Colby, you can see just up on the outside line there. Falling back relatively quickly. Max Newworth, whoa, dropping way down to the bottom of the track here. That's going to cost him quite some positions and some speed here. Nicholas Lovell, meanwhile, making his way to the rear bumper of the 70 of Aaron Smith. We've got contact. Oh, no! Out of turn 2. The cautions don't end here. Oh, no. We're going to take this back here. I want to actually, hold on a second. Oh, you can see the action happening in front of them. Tony Hilbrand's getting a little bit too close to the outer wall out of turn 2. Multiple drivers getting involved in that one. That is a wreck you don't want to see here. Oh, look at that. The 92 car just crippled, making its way through the track here. That is going to bring our 10th caution of the race here tonight, folks. Oh, someone's Max Newworth. He's just stopped in the middle of the track. Okay. All right. Don Hilbrand's well pooped. As much as I'd love to say the uncensored version, we at Team Goon Squad like to keep things relatively PG here. Fumble tongue in the chat saying Max Newworth probably ran out of gas in the number 66 car. But unfortunately for the 66 machine, it looks like he's still down in pits here for quite a significant amount of time here. I'm not sure if he caught a penalty of some sort or if he's just saying, hey, you know what, I'm done racing tonight because it's been almost 3 hours of racing here at Pocono and I'm tired. And frankly, I don't blame him. Fumble tongue saying slowed abruptly, then totally stopped on track, likely fuel. Yeah, I think you're probably hit the nail right on the head there. The 66 machine stuck right in the middle of, well, it seemed like pit lane there. So likely fuel was the issue for that situation. So, with only about 15 minutes left before the official session time is concluded here, which again I believe is only 3 hours that we are allocated for our race here tonight. So, normally our races only go about 2 hours. But with the exception of tonight, with how many cautions we've had here in the late stage of the race here tonight, just drivers all fighting for positions, things might all, I don't know, at this point, we're either going to end under a checkered flag or it's going to end under a caution. Let's find out here as we come out of turn 3. Pace car makes its dive down into pit lane. Green flag in hand and down it goes. Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lovell side by side. Howie Briss, Matthew Fitz in the second row. Benny Hogan, Scott Shire in your third row here. We're going 3 wide here, it looks like, through the front of the pack into turn 1. It's Aaron Smith. Oh man, Nicholas Lovell, Benny Hogan almost getting sandwiched in between. Quite the mess there, but Nicholas Lovell staying right hot on the tail of Aaron Smith in the number 70 car, heading into turn 2 now. Little bit of a sideways drag there from Benny Hogan. He is going to find himself scuffled down into the bottom wall out of turn 2. No caution coming out from it, though. A lone car incident from that one. Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lovell now battling it out for the first place spot here. Howie Briss is going to have quite some competition here for the third place spot with Matthew Fitz, the 69 machine, right hot on his heels. The final lap is out. The white flag is flying. Let's see what these drivers have in store. Howie Briss leading the rest of the field in position 3. It's Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lovell side by, well, bumper to bumper almost, rather. Aaron Smith looking to tack on yet another win here for his season here with the Velocity Racing League Cup Series. One more turn to go. Through turn 3 he goes with Nicholas Lovell in tow. No mistakes made between those drivers. The rest of the field coming across the line here. Some close battles happening, but ultimately everyone coming across the line single file here for tonight's race. And what an incredible finish here for tonight. I mean, I think for every single one of these drivers involved, there was a lot of uncertainty going into the night. I don't think for any single one of these drivers they anticipated the amount of restarts that we had going into the final really 10 laps of the race. Aaron with a little bit of a celebration there. We're going to go ahead and get into our post-race interviews. So looking at the results here for tonight, Aaron Smith coming home with the win, Nicholas Lovell in second place, and Howie Briss in third. That is going to round out our top 3 here for tonight. We're going to go ahead and get into our post-race interviews. First up is going to be Howie Briss, the number 97 machine, taking home another podium here tonight. Howie has shown incredible consistency throughout this season and able to come home with a third place finish for the third time in 3 weeks. Howie, welcome to the booth and congratulations on another podium here tonight. I mean, Howie, this was a... I don't even know how to explain it. You know, everything was looking green and clean throughout the first portion of the race. We had 80 laps, 78 laps actually, that were under green flag conditions, and now here we are, 135 laps into the race, and we finally take the checkered flag. Howie, how are you feeling right now?
I just want to say, whoever caused that spew of cautions, I hate you, and I hope you get wrecked next week. I should have been in bed about like 30 minutes ago, but yeah, that race took way too long. But I mean, I did lead a couple laps. I did start third, did get some points, so hopefully that kind of helps with us in the championship. I mean, Lovell did finish ahead of us, which I really don't care. I mean, I got the upper hand on him. I did lead some laps under green. But yeah, that race was way too long. I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I don't think any single one of us, drivers or broadcaster included, was expecting this race to go on for 3 hours. I mean, especially just with 80 laps, nearly 80 laps at green flag racing, and just until the end, it was just a caution fest. I mean, coming into the night, Howie, were you expecting a caution fest, or were you expecting, kind of green, smooth racing throughout the night? I mean, I think tonight was a great example of just racing kind of throwing you a curveball, and you having to deal with it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is part of racing. Curveballs can happen. It's part of racing, and that's part of life as well. I mean, everything will throw a curveball your way no matter what. You always got to expect the unexpected. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wish it went green all the way.
Yeah, I mean, with how the racing was going to, you were consistently up there in the top 3, in the top 5. There was even a moment where I was almost half expecting you to come up into the lead there for a moment, but had you had some more time under green flag, I'm sure that probably could have happened here for you. But Howie, you did phenomenal. You were able to stay out there throughout all the cautions, keep yourself up there into 3rd place, and come home with a podium. What's that giving you going into next week's race, and I mean, really the rest of the season?
Well, we keep finishing like this, I think we're going to have a good shot of winning it. So, but yeah, next week, Aaron Smith's going to win. Guaranteed.
Yeah, Watkins Glen, given the performance from the 70 machine on road courses, yeah, it's going to be really tough to say who am I kidding? It's not going to be tough.
Someone is just going to have to dump him in the first corner, and then we got a race. Someone's going to have to do that.
So you're just telling me that we're going to have a Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen kind of rivalry here in VRL?
Yeah, pretty much. Someone's going to have to do the dirty deed on Aaron, and someone's going to have to step onto the plate, because I don't want to risk my points.
Well, Howie, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much you and Nicholas Lovell battling it out for the championship, and the last time I checked, it was 170 points separating you two drivers. So I mean, I think you still got a pretty comfortable lead, but definitely after this week's race with Nicholas coming ahead of you in 2nd place, definitely going to have your work ahead of you going forward into Watkins Glen. But that's all the questions that I have for you here tonight, Howie. Before I let you go and celebrate tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your success here tonight?
Yeah, I think RTR Racing, if they're still watching, I think Grandmother and Granddad, they're watching on the big TV upstairs. Upstairs. So, Aunt Stephanie on the West Coast. I don't even know what time it is out on the West Coast, but oh yeah, I hope I got everyone. Oh, you guys for bringing the broadcast, Tony for hosting the league. I think that's everyone. I don't know. I want to go to bed.
Howie, me too, buddy. It's time to go to sleep. Howie, thank you for joining me up here in the booth, and congratulations on a podium after a very long and very tough race. I look forward to seeing you next week at Watkins.
Yeah, you too.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man.
Howie Briss out of the booth here tonight after a very long race here in the 97 machine. Up next, it's going to be Nicholas Lovell in the number 37 machine, taking home 2nd place here tonight after a very long race here tonight, the 37 machine. Nicholas, you've seen yourself up here in the top 5, the top 10 throughout the whole night. Were you expecting to see yourself up here in the top 3?
Absolutely not. After I got scooped on pit lane because my car didn't ghost, I figured I was done, but because we kept wrecking and extended the race by like 30 laps, I took home a podium, so I'll take it. But no, I did not think I'd end up there. I thought I was done, but you never can tell.
Yeah, when you come to a track like Pocono and, you come to a caution, it's like, okay, well, we'll come back to green here in a couple minutes. No, it's literally a couple minutes because of how big this track is. 2.5 miles can seem like an eternity. And with how many cautions you guys had there at the end of the race, I mean, Nicholas, we had 78 laps of green flag racing, and then, oh gosh, what was it? 7, 8 cautions, all for the green-white checkered.
Yep,
I mean,
everybody cooled the tires off and started sending it. I know I did.
So when you're put in that position as a driver and you're seeing, you know, the rest of the field just making mistakes left and right, what kind of mindset does that put you in?
Take what they give you, especially when you think you're out of it. Just start taking what they give you, and you might get lucky like I did. That's my mentality. Anytime yellow starts stacking, I start picking up what I can and sending it when I can.
And it seemed to work out for you. I mean, yourself, Howie Briss, even Patrick Colby. I mean, Patrick Colby, I'll be honest, we were kind of rooting for him here in the broadcast booth as well as in the live chat. A driver that we haven't seen up here in the podium or for a win here this season yet. I mean, just made a little bit of a mistake there in I don't even know what caution it was. I won't even bother to try and call that. But, I mean, just being in this sort of situation where you're having to restart after restart after restart, it's tough. It's extremely challenging. But for yourself, Nicholas, you were able to keep yourself consistent, calm, patient, and put yourself up here into the podium. So with this week out of the way, this challenging race out of the way, I mean, going next week into Watkins Glen, a road course which, frankly, for these ARCAs, I'm sure it's going to be quite the challenge. How are you feeling about that?
I'm usually okay at Watkins Glen, but we're running the boot. I don't run the boot very often in stock cars, but I think I'll do all right. It's just going to be not making mistakes. I know I'm definitely not going to win, but it's just going to be not, tripping my train of thought and hitting the fence or getting it in the grass or burning the tires up too fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Watkins Glen as well, the boot, like you mentioned, it can definitely kind of throw a lot of drivers through a loophole here. But, with drivers like Aaron Smith, who have shown a lot of dominance throughout the series on those road courses, it's going to be interesting to see how drivers like yourself kind of fare in that regard. But Nicholas, coming home tonight with a podium and with your season here, with your success throughout the season here, it's really been great to see the 37 machine just kind of put yourself up on that podium, put yourself in the winning category more often than not. And I hopefully get to talk to yourself next week going into Watkins Glen. But before I let you go, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your race here tonight?
Man, as late as it is, I think after about that 5th caution, most people I know tuned out. Everybody's got work in the morning. But no, man, I hope I get to talk to you again next week.
Absolutely. Well, with bedtime due at this moment, Nicholas, thank you for joining me at this late hour of the night, and hopefully get to talk to you again next week at Watkins Glen, and hopefully in the same sort of regard.
All right, Mason, take it easy.
Absolutely, you as well. Nicholas Lovell out of the booth here tonight. The 37 machine coming home with second place here tonight. Aaron Smith coming home with the win here tonight. 9 wins to the name of the number 70 driver of Aaron Smith. Aaron, as we tune into a sweet, sweet picture of you just drifting your way through turn 3, how was your race tonight, my friend?
Well, it was pretty good until lap 99. I mean, I feel like Jaden and James put up a solid fight there over the course of that long green flag run. It's a shame it had to come to an end right before the race was coming to a finish. But, yeah, certainly took longer than I was expecting it would.
I think that's to say the least. Aaron, the one question that I really want to ask you here, you had a little bit of contact at the very beginning of the race between yourself and James Coulibaly. The 22 machine found itself right on top of the bumper of your car. I mean, at that point in the race, it was only lap 6, 7. I mean, at that point, were you kind of like, oh crap, what am I going to do? Or was it just kind of like, you know what? Crap happens. Let's move on. Let's keep racing.
I don't think that was me, because I was behind Miller the whole time, just chilling. I don't think I hit him.
Oh, you know what?
Him, but that was like 3 hours ago, so I wouldn't know.
It's been quite a bit of a race, hasn't it?
Yeah, had to win it about 10 extra times after the race itself ended, but yeah, it's all right. I'll take it. 9th of the season, 25th overall. It's all right.
You know, and with that in mind, I mean, Aaron, I was looking at you throughout the final few restarts, and you're the driver on the oldest set of tires. You had the least amount of fuel probably throughout the field. I mean, what was keeping you fast throughout those few laps, last few laps?
Yeah, I don't know what was up with the tires tonight, but it felt like it took like 10 laps for them to get worn in, and it took us about 30 laps to get 2 of them done consecutively, so it didn't really mess me up any. My last lap of the race with level behind me ended up being my quickest lap, and it was only about a tenth or 2 off of the qualifying pace, so it didn't make that big of a difference, but I was certainly worried there for a minute while we were stopping and starting there.
Yeah, I was worried for you too. I mean, I was sitting here in the booth and I was just watching the cautions just tick away, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, man, Aaron's got to be cutting it real close on fuel, tire wear, whatever the case may be, but you're able to come home with another win here for the VRL Cup Series. Aaron, before I let you go in and celebrate here tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the folks at the Velocity Racing League for putting this show on, you for broadcasting and sticking with us there over the last hour of the race, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it, hopefully a better track next week.
Absolutely, Aaron. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week at Watkins Glen, and hopefully, Aaron, being that you are sort of the road course aficionado here with VRL, to see yourself back up here on the podium next week.
All right, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, Aaron. Have a great night. Alrighty, folks. That is going to conclude our coverage of the Pocono 250 here for the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. My name is Mason Highmaw with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch all the action that we have here 7 days a week. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week, same time, same place for the race at Watkins Glen for the 200 at the Glen. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week.